Today's story is about a girl who was overflowing with intense physical lust. Day and night, she couldn't find peace due to the constant pressure. Just like a drug addict can't live without drugs, this girl couldn't live without intimacy. The story begins with a man named Salik, who finds a girl unconscious outside his house. He brings her into his home and tends to her wounds because she was quite injured. After a while, the girl regains consciousness. Salik was a composed man. He asks what happened to you and who you are. The girl tells him her name is Joy. She says that I am suffering from an illness. The reason my desire never gets satisfied is that Salik wanted to hear her entire story, so he began to listen to her attentively. Following Salik's encouragement, Joy begins to recount her story, starting from when she was 12 years old. Today, she was in the bathroom with her friend, letting water run while pulling down her underwear and dragging her body on the floor to fuel her sexual desire. All while her parents had no idea about her. They didn't even know that their daughter had an illness. Joy's father was a doctor, and little Joy would look at inappropriate pictures in his books and start exploring her body. Now, Joy had become young. She had been involved with a boy named Jenny for the past year. Now she didn't want to play with her friend anymore. So she approached Jimmy to have sex with him so that she could lose her virginity for the first time. But Jody is not enjoying it because he is not feeling anything. Later, while sitting on a train heading home, she suddenly felt the urge to have physical fun with a man sitting next to her, and they began in the train's bathroom. But Joy does not feel like Jimmy. She did not enjoy it at all. A few years later, as she became even younger, her body had developed such a hunger that she would start masturbating wherever she sat. Just seeing boys would push her lust to its peak. Upon turning 21, she got married. Her husband's name was Jerome after meeting him, and she had managed to gain considerable control over her desires. They were both living their lives well. Today, a boy is born, and he named him Mason. After the baby was born, Jerome became busy with work and couldn't engage in physical play with Joy like before. In other words, he couldn't make Joy happy. So one day, Jerome told her to have a relationship with someone else. Joy initially refused, but eventually agreed, going out to satiate her desires and returning home late at night. In this way, 3 years had passed. One day, Joy saw a man outside his office, and he sent a proposal to sleep with the man, which the stranger quickly accepted. A little while later, Joy was waiting in a hotel room for an unknown man, who came with a friend. Joy said to them, "Do whatever you want. Just make sure I have fun." After hearing her, both of them first undress her. Then they decide who will go first and who will go second. Now here, both of them start driving the horse cart with Joy. But even after having Joy play the tabla, she did not feel anything special. It does not happen. After that, she got upset, picked up her clothes, and went back. And then she ended up exhausted at a man named Joy Can. He would take 3 pays and beat the lustful women, torturing them to intensify their desire so that he could enjoy the physical games that had started coming to him daily. He would always bind Joy well to the sofa and check with his fingers what to do with her that day and how to do it. One day, when no one was home, Joy's son woke up and went to the balcony. But Jerome arrived just in time to save him from an accident. Afterward, on Christmas Day, Jerome clearly told Joy that she had to choose between her family and her lust. Filled with carnal desire, Joy chooses her enjoyment without thinking twice. Upon hearing Joy's decision, Jerome drives her out of his house. The one who was distressed and had now come to Ken asks him to love her, because it wasn't Joy's turn today, and in anger, Ken started treating her very poorly. Salik asked Joy how her son's mission was, to which Joy angrily threw her cup at him, saying that Jerome had sent her to a hostel. It was clear that they were very unhappy with their dirty illness, as it had caused them to leave their family. The story goes on to say that a few years later, she started to enjoy physical games. But in the process, she ended up injuring herself quite a bit. To get treatment for herself, she asked her boss for help. The boss agrees to help her, but also tells Joy that everyone in the office knows she is with a new man every night. You need to change your habits. It's either a man or a job, it's your choice. Once again, Joy chooses fun instead of a man. She had become quite troubled, feeling that she was not made for this society. She is just so immersed in her thoughts that she keeps meeting the wrong people. One day, she met a guy named G, who already knew her. At Joy's request, he gives her a job in the organization. For this job, he provides them with 2 bodyguards. After watching for a while, Joy had started doing this job in a very good manner because she was enjoying it. One day, he called her over respectfully and said that she was doing quite well. Now it's time for you to choose an apprentice and mold them into your likeness. G advises Joy to take care of a girl named Do. She came from a criminal family. Her father was still in jail, and her mother was killed while involved in drugs. After that, Joy trains Bo so that he can befriend him. It felt like Joy and O had a deep connection. As days passed, Joy and O became close friends. One day, Joy asked him to come to her house. She agreed to his request and moved him permanently to his house. Gradually, Joy began teaching her all the tricks of her trade. As they spent time together, attraction grew, and they began to playfully lick each other. A few days later, Joy accidentally arrived at Jerome's house while trying to sell something, which is why Joy tells him to complete the mission. She successfully completed her work. However, a few days later, Joy began to regret her job because she had developed a physical relationship with Jerome. Seeing this made her very sad, and somewhere, jealousy began to creep in, prompting her to decide to kill Jerome. To do so, she took a gun and entered his house, where Jerome was with someone else. However, despite her efforts, she couldn't harm him. Perhaps there was some fault in the gun. In a fit of anger, Jerome severely beat Joy. Not only that, he engages in physical play right in front of her, which makes her wonder, why didn't my gun work? In response, Salek says to him, maybe you didn't know how to shoot that gun. Or perhaps you didn't want to kill Jerome, which is why the gun didn't fire for you. Friends, before we proceed, I kindly request you to subscribe to our channel for your favorite VIF and movie explanation videos, so you can continue to receive amazing videos like this. Thus, Jo's tale of lust comes to an end here. But before going to sleep, she tells the celebrity to leave from there. That night, while Joey was in a deep sleep, Celeb quietly entered her room and attempted to force himself on her. She tells Joey to stop by showing him her set. When he did listen, Joy actually killed him by shooting because she preferred to do everything on her own terms rather than sneakily and deceitfully. Therefore, she killed Salek, and with this, the story ends here.